Hello and welcome to how to play the trade-off solo for snare drum. So underneath in the bottom of this video, I am going to be putting the solo and I'm going to put a little highlight over every single eighth note. Because the hardest thing about this solo is staying in time, and the easiest way to stay in time is if you know where an important beat is. And since every single subdivision in the solo is related to an eighth note, I'm going to highlight every single eighth note because it's good to have more grounded points so you don't get lost. So the first thing we're going to cover is, of course, the first beat, and the first beat is just a paradiddle. The only difference is that you're not going to continue into a left-handed paradiddle after you finish the first paradiddle. You're just going to start a right-handed paradiddle and hit the left, and then that's it. And the left-hand hit is going to be on an eighth note. So, in the first eighth note, you're going to play a paradiddle. Now, the second paradiddle is going to start on the ah of beat 1. So there's going to be a little bit of a pause, and then you're going to play another paradiddle. So those two paradiddles together are going to sound like this. And you may now notice that that doesn't really end well. It doesn't end on a note or anything. So there are two extra 16th notes at the end. And those are just going to be played as normal 16th notes leading into beat 3. So you're going to play a paradiddle, a right-handed paradiddle, stop, another right-handed paradiddle, and then add two more 16th notes at the end. All right, the next measure is really tricky. And the reason why it's tricky is because you're doing herdas on 16th notes after you've been doing 32nd notes. So you got a subdivision from an even number subdivision to one that's based on an odd number subdivision, which is the triplet. That's what makes it so difficult. So we're not even going to touch the herda yet. All we're going to do is just play 16th note triplets without the note that makes it a herda. So we're going to go right, right, left as 16th note triplets. And the reason why you want to start learning it like that is because now you know how the rhythm is supposed to sound before you add the herda. Because now, once you can do the right, right, left, right, right, left, all you need to do is just add an extra left in between the rights. And all of a sudden, now you can play that little beat 3. So you can go from 2. So if you just get rid of that note that makes the herda a herda, all you have is 16th note triplets, which are right, right, left, right, right, left. Once you get that down, add in that extra note with the herda, and that makes it a herda. And then you could play it really well in time, hopefully, because you've been practicing that for so long. Then we're going to do a rim shot on beat 4, and we're just going to do normal 16th notes. And that is the easiest bar right there. I didn't even cover the accents yet. So the accents are going to be on the first of each paradiddle, and then the last two 16th notes that lead you into beat 3. And then there's no accents during the herdas. And then, of course, a rim shot is a massive accent on beat 4. So with the accents, it's going to sound something like this. All right, so now we got measure 2. And measure 2 is really hard. And the reason why it's hard is because you're doing a bunch of fancy sticking, like showbiz and stuff. So we're not even going to touch that until the very, very end. So first, I want to draw your attention to the actual sticking itself, the rights and lefts. This looks hard, but in reality, it's just 2 6-stroke rolls. There is a 6-stroke roll smack dab in the center on the end of 1 and 2. So you put those two together, you got a 6-stroke roll. You probably know how to do a 6-stroke roll if you're watching this video. So once you have that 6-stroke roll down, if you don't, then the other ones are just the first half of a 6-stroke roll, and then the second half of a 6-stroke roll. So that transition from beat 1 into beat 2 is just a 6-stroke roll. Now, you also notice that I already put the accents in there. That's because I suck at not playing accents once I learned them. But you have an accent when you do a right, and then you have an accent by itself, and then you have an accent when you do the left by itself. So basically, it's a 6-stroke roll accent pattern. Again, it's just a 6-stroke roll, but the 6-stroke roll is split up between beats 1 and beat 2. Now in the 6-stroke roll in the center, the one that isn't split up, you have a hit with the butt of your right hand stick. And you also have a hit with the butt of your left hand stick. So your right hand is pretty easy. You just simply, you hit it. So you hit it like that. You just like pound it into the drum. And I suggest you do that exercise if you can't figure out how to butt your head into the drum in time. So you do the first half and then you just end on the end of one. Now for your left hand, what you're going to do is you're going to lift your hand up. You're going to spin it, and then you're going to angle your hand downwards and hit the drum with the butt of your stick. So lift your hand, spin the stick, and then angle it down towards. Be really, really careful when doing this. That one, you don't touch the head of your drum, and you don't smash your fingers into the head of the drum as you hit it. Because one, that's going to hurt, and two, it's going to dampen your sound. So be very careful when doing this, that you lift your hand, you spin it, and you hit it at an angle. And be careful not to hit the bottom of the head of the stick on the drum. So in order to practice that, literally just pretend that you're spinning the stick and then hitting it at an angle. And the good thing is that when you move your hand back, it's already at an angle. So when you move it back in the arch, your hand is going to come slightly higher than it was before. So all you have to do is just move it down to hit the drum. So once you do the backhanded hit on beat 2, on the triplet on beat 2, then when you spin your hand back and you move it down, you can hit the end of the triplet on the end of 2 really easily with that fluid movement. So just practice that fluid movement of going from here, raising your stick, hitting it at an angle, and then raising it back and moving it back down to get that extra hit. Then the last part is just going to be 16th note triplet roll. Double stroke every 16th note triplet that you play. So a normal 16th note triplet would just be this. But you're just going to double stroke everything. Then for the beat 4, all you're going to do is you're going to do a rim shot. And then with your right hand, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to do a hit with the butt of the stick. But with your left hand, instead of hitting with the butt of your stick, you're going to play it vertically straight down. So you're going to do a rim shot. Your stick's going to go straight down into the drum head. Your right hand is going to go straight down into the drum head. Your left hand is going to go straight down to the drum head. And then you're going to resume the normal groove. So the entire solo at 60 BPM is going to sound like this. And this is what it's going to sound like at the 90 BPM tempo that the song is actually at. Okay, so I hope that you learn how to tackle a really complex rhythm pattern with this. So the steps that I recommend you do and that I do when I'm trying to learn a really complex part is 1, find grounded points. Where is every single eighth note in the bar? Where's every single quarter note? Something like that. Find some place where you know, like, this is on an eighth note and I need to hit this in time. And then you can kind of branch off from there. Next, you want to tackle one part at a time. You want to make sure that you could do the rhythm first. And while you're doing the rhythm, make sure you teach yourself the correct sticking. It makes your life easier. Then you can do any showbiz the piece calls for and the accents. And then finally, if it calls for a technique that you don't know yet, practice just that technique until you can get it down and then apply it to the piece. And do that very slowly. I know it says a lot, like if you're in band, you probably hear your band teacher say this plenty of times. If you can't play your part slow, you can't play it fast. They say it a lot because it's true. If you cannot have control over your instrument at insanely slow tempos, then there's no way you can have control of it over fast tempos. Now, just because you can play it slow doesn't mean you can play it fast, but you cannot play fast if you cannot play slow. I recommend you start learning this really, really slow. Put the metronome at eighth notes at 40 BPM and slowly increase it from there.